Hi guys, Kristen here. So I'm going to be starting another reading vlog. I just started reading Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. Part of me never wanted to read Six of Crows because everyone reads it and everyone loves it, and it just felt like, one of those books where I almost wanted to be contrary and be like, well, everyone reads it, I don't want to read that. I feel like I've been saying that a lot lately. And then I read them. So I did want to read Six of Crows before the Netflix show Shadow and Bone came out. I was able to read the Shadow and Bone series, but the hold at the library for a copy of Six of Crows was extremely long. Obviously, a lot of other people had the same idea as I did, but it finally came through, and the show made me extremely excited to read the series. I was a little bit worried that it was going to be spoilery, and I don't think that it was because of the sort of like altered timeline. I know that some people were worried that it was going to change their backstories because the backstories are really important to the book or the series. And I don't think that happened. I think that they kept true to that. I mean, I guess I'll find out when I finish reading it, but my impression of the show was more just that they were like putting in an additional story sort of in between the real backstories and when the book picks up. I absolutely fell in love with Jesper. I feel like everyone did. That actor did such an amazing job. And Kaz and Inej were fine. And Matthias and Nina also fine. Note on pronunciation. I cannot bring myself to say Matthias. I don't know what country Fjerda is based on. I haven't come across it yet. In this book, I don't remember reading enough of the Shadow and Bone, like that it made me feel like, oh, that Fjerda is obviously blank country. So I'm not certain. And I understand that the show also said Matthias, and I think that that's how generally people pronounce that character's name. But here in Denmark, it is actually a really common name, but we say Matthias. And so I just can't bring myself to say Matthias. So I apologize if it's totally wrong. Anyway, I am 4 chapters in, and let me tell you, I am already heavily invested in this whole Kaz and Inej thing. Don't get me wrong, they did a great job on the show, and I have obviously seen so much fan art all over Instagram and people talking about it on booktube even. I don't know how it ends, so I think people have actually done a pretty good job of that. But there are just some subtleties. Like, I think the show was so good and did such a great job of filling out some of the weaknesses, say, in a very old, very particular time period young adult fantasy series that Shadow and Bone was written. I knew about Kaz and Inej, that, tension going into the show. I think they did a great job of it, but there are some subtleties that in a book come through better because you're more in the character's head, and actors can only do so much with like body language and facial expressions and chemistry and interactions. Like, I think they did a good job. I was convinced of that dynamic, but already there are things of like the internal, like the ways that they're thinking, even within the first four chapters. I'm like, oh yeah, I need this to happen. I like it. I like that tension. So I'm excited. This is, I think, going to be a spoilery vlog of me reading Six of Crows. I do want to just like have my automatic reactions and to share that with you here. So if you have not read this book yet and you don't want to get spoiled, maybe don't watch this review. But if you are interested to see how I respond and react to reading the Six of Crows duology for the first time, follow along. Okay, so I'm on chapter 8 now, and they got Matthias out of the prison, and oh my god, I love it. I mean, I'm not sure if I would love it as much if I sort of wasn't already invested in the characters because of the show, but I am really, really enjoying it. The whole Matthias and Nina thing, which I didn't love that storyline in the show, but I like that, like, where we're picking up. So obviously I know the backstory, which they've hinted at up to this point, but I guess it was a little bit spoiled. But oh my gosh, I kind of love it. Yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. Whether I like the scene where they're like planning the heist and it's like the heist meeting, that's always a fun point. I don't do well with eye stuff. Hi, so I thought I would do a check-in on where I am at with Six of Crows. Yes, I am wearing the same sweater. It is a different day. I don't care. I'm about 50% in, and I really, really love it. I totally get why everyone in the book community, or like most people in the book community, love this book as much as they do. It is gold. Solid gold. Especially if you are a character reader. Although, I feel like even at 50%, we're just getting into the heist now.
Hi, Editing Kristen here. So the percentages are totally off when I talk about them because the ebook has a bunch of stuff tagged on at the end, and so it gives like this really skewed perception of how far along you are in the book. So it was obviously much further along than 50% when they're like getting into the heist. I think when I actually finished the book, my e-reader was saying that I was only 70% into the book because of all of the stuff that was tagged on at the end.
And I feel like it will be even more exciting going forward. I don't really feel like it's been slow. So I'm really intrigued how many people say like nothing really happens in this book. I'm not getting that. I'm not picking up on that. It feels not fast paced, but it feels like stuff is happening. And maybe that's because I'm really interested in the characters and I am a character reader and I am enjoying the mix of sort of flashbacks and like slowly learning more about the characters while at the same time like setting up the heist and learning stuff about the world. I don't feel like it's been slow, but I am also reading another very slow book, Kushiel's Dart, sort of alongside this and have been for the last week or so. So maybe that's making it feel like it's faster than it is because Kushiel's Dart is extremely slow paced. I have some guesses about something that might happen. There was a thing that happened earlier where Wylan was like, oh, I'm so curious about things. Like, for example, how is this ice castle or ice palace, whatever it's called, like floating on water? Where is this water coming from? And immediately I was like, oh, so they're not killing all of the Grisha. They're using like I don't remember what the ones that deal with water, like tide something, those Grisha. Like they're not killing them all. They're like putting them into slavery and using them. When we got to like the ice palace or ice castle, whatever it's called, and they were looking around and being like, a lot of this place looks like it's fabricator made. It just like confirmed my beliefs. Like, so I'm like solid. I would put money on that they're going to discover that the Grisha are not all being killed. So that's where I'm at. The Nina and Matthias like backstory, I guess, was sort of spoiled with the show, but I don't really feel like that has had a negative impact on my reading experience. Otherwise, really loving everything. I'm curious, are we going to get a Wylan perspective? We haven't as of yet. And I kind of thought it was like all 6 of them had a perspective. So maybe we will eventually, and maybe we won't. Fjerda is definitely Nordic inspired, not necessarily Denmark. The landscape, not really like that here. However, it is very clearly Nordic inspired, and so I feel pretty comfortable and confident with my pronunciation of Matthias and not Matthias. But, you know, whatever, no judgment. I don't pronounce names however you want. I firmly believe that you should just say it in your head, however it comes across the most smooth. Today I was back at the studio teaching yoga like in person for the first time since mid-December, so that was really exciting. But I had way too much coffee before and after class, and I'm like jittery right now, so I'm going to try to eat something and then I'm going to set up and keep reading. definitely more acknowledged between Kaz and Inej than I thought there was going to be honest. Just the way that everyone like talks about this ship on like Bookstagram and Booktube, I really thought everything was more just like implied and not as clear as it is. They seem to both be very aware of the situation. And I wasn't expecting that. I feel like I missed something in an Inej chapter when she was climbing up the chimney. She's talking about like wanting a ship and a crew, and as if we already knew about that, but I definitely didn't. So, okay, part of me is extremely stressed that their only plan for finding this, like the prisoner that they're looking for, is just Nina's ability to flirt her way into the information. Like, oh no, I have a bad feeling. Okay, Matthias is just bluffing, right? He's bluffing. Oh my god, this is horrible. I knew they were using the Grisha.
I just have to say, I love the difference between the original plan, like, we're just gonna walk out, and the reality of like stealing the tank and like shooting their way out. It's perfect. Whoa. So many thoughts. Okay, first off, I knew that Van Eck was going to like double cross them. I actually couldn't remember if that was the same name as the businessman from the show, which would have been a dead giveaway, but I couldn't remember. But just the way that it was lining up, I was like, yeah, they're definitely not going to want to pay them the money. They're going to want to kill them. But I did not see any of the other twists coming. Whoa, holy moly. Shocking. I had a feeling that Kaz hadn't killed Rollins, however you say it, just because of like his internal thought processes. Like after that event, I feel like he would have been like stuck a little bit more on it. And there was something that he like thought about afterwards that specifically had to do with Rollins, and it was very like not, it was more like planning still, or like I still need this to happen. So I was pretty sure that was the case. Okay, this is so interesting because I have this like book to show comparison after the fact, and obviously I was introduced to the show first. I feel like there are some characters that I think came across better in the book, particularly Inej, actually, although like I think the actress did an amazing job, but I think the book Inej was a little bit more spunky, and like we obviously haven't had a chance in the show to see the friendship with Nina, so we'll wait and see how like they write that and how that's done. Maybe that will change it, because in the show it was just like very serious. I feel like they really played into the faith, her faith in the show, and while that, especially because of Alina, in the book it's like her faith is there, but she still like jokes around with everyone, and I feel like that didn't come across as well in the show. So we'll see what happens like moving forward show wise. Definitely the Kaz and Inej situation, I think, came across better in the books. And I actually like Nina and Matthias a little bit better in the books as well. Maybe not Nina. Tough. Yeah, that actress did a really good job as well. I think I just like thought some of the scenes were really corny and predictable in the show. But then reading about them was maybe a better experience. Like I maybe get sucked in a little bit more to that when I'm reading it, because I can make it less corny in my head. So that's a me thing. But Jesper, I think, came across way better in the show. Like that actor, I really should have looked up their names. I'm not good at that. But that actor that played Jesper, oh man, he made Jesper so charismatic, and just like everything that he did, like his like even his like physicalities of like walking and with the guns, like just like everything, Milo, obviously everything about Jesper in the show was so amazing. And yeah, he had like, it was clear that he had like a gambling problem. In the books,
his charismatic quality does not come through quite as well as what the actor was able to like physically do with that. And the whole thing with Wylan, like, oh man, are we gonna get a Wylan viewpoint in Crooked Kingdom? Somebody let me know. The thing with Kaz and Inej on the boat, like, I mean, I've seen that quote before because of Instagram. Thoughts on that? I get, and I really, really respect, and I think it is badass that Inej, like, knows that she needs more, and at least at this point, is sticking to her guns on that. Like, I know that he cares about me, but, like, she also knows that she needs more reciprocity, and, like, I thought what she said about, like, how will you have me, and then being, like, saying all the thing about, like, the clothes and stuff, like, that was a touch insensitive. But yeah, okay, so while I totally get where she's coming from, and I, like, value that 100%, like, what he's theoretically, like, not even really offering in so many words, is not enough for her. Like, perfect. But also knowing his, hang-ups is the wrong word. Trauma, I guess. And, like, revulsion is a very strong word. And so if that is, like, where he's at with, like, physical touch, for him to, like, say what he said to Inej about her staying and, like, him wanting her, and then for her to say that's not enough, it was just like, oh, that was tough. And then the my girl thing, like, I'm gonna get my money, I'm gonna get my girl. It's pretty good. I'm sold. You know, I never really talked smack about Six of Crows, but I definitely had not planned on reading this series just because it was so, like, across the boards, like, loved and talked about. But you got me, Leigh Bardugo. Wow. This book is far beyond the Shadow and Bone series. I have not read the Prince Nikolai series. Kingdom of Scars? Whatever it is. But I've heard pretty mixed things, so I feel confident saying that, like, this is way better than everything else she's written in this series. I personally did not find that there was not plot. I was hooked the whole time. I wanted to know what was happening next. Even when it was just, like, them planning. You were getting, like, a decent amount of, like, planning and reveals and new characters getting thrown into the mix, and, like, back and forth with, like, a little bit of backstories on each of them, like, and, like, it was measured out slowly enough. I thought it was perfect. I mean, it's not a perfect book, but, like, I wasn't bored. I was not bored at all. I would not say that was a slow plot, so maybe that means I need to readjust what my idea of, like, slow is, or maybe it was just the character work was so amazing that you don't notice that, like, plot-wise, not a ton is going on until, like, the 40% mark, but I don't even think that's that bad. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Very glad that I read this book. I don't feel bad for having watched the show first. I don't feel like it really spoiled me at all, other than, like, I knew that Pekka Rollins was a big deal, and that I did know the Nina and Matthias backstory, so, but it still had a significant impact, I would say, doing the whole starting with where they start from in the book, and still, like, it was still perfect. You know what? I don't really give stars, but Six of Crows, 5-star. 5-star. That was amazing. I have just put Crooked Kingdom on hold. Should have done that a while ago. I think it was, like, significant. I think I'm, like, 300th in line on, like, 20 copies or something like that. I'll put in a little. I will wrap up this vlog since I'm not going to be able to read Crooked Kingdom anytime soon. Thank you for sticking around if you are still here, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.